People say it's just a waste of time, everybody. Welcome to the Football Ramble preview show. The Premier League is back and so's the Merseyside derby. It's Friday, 20th of October. I'm Marcus Speller.
I'm Luke Moore.
I'm Jim Campbell.
And I'm Pete Donaldson.
Oi, oi, everybody. Good to have you with us. It's Friday. Hold your waters in the air. It's too early for the other stuff, but Fantas are allowed.
Where's the keys?
They're where they should be.
Yeah, where they should be.
They're on my side.
Up your bot.
Yeah,
on your
what?
side in a little holster.
Yeah.
I'm the sheriff of the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you know why Marcus has got his keys on the belt loop rather than in his pocket?
Because I saw a dog doing it in Buenos Aires.
No, because you've got too many girls' phone numbers in your pocket, baby. Can't fit the keys in there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
The heartbreak kid of the Ramble.
The heartbreak kid of everybody.
Me and Pete, the bushwhackers.
Are you? Yeah,
Jim's the Undertaker.
You've got very low-cut vests on as we speak.
Yeah.
And my goodness, what a
lick
sight.
fish.
Mm-hmm.
You lick fish?
We lick fish and share
Lick
a bed.
fish and kiss boys.
And one of them is called
girls.
Luke the Bushwhackers, isn't he?
Yes, I believe
Yeah,
so.
there you go. Happy with
Perfect.
that.
I think he might be the one who's still alive. One of them died this year.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. The
And
sweet release of Bushwhacker death.
God rest whichever one's dead,
Yeah.
and condolences to their family. Yeah.
And everyone is in New Zealand.
Yeah. Don't look at me like that. You started this.
You started
I
this.
never started.
You started talking about Fanta.
You start all of it
It's
every
a-
show.
It's a rare thing, ladies and gentlemen, when Luke and Pete look at me as if to say, come on, move on quickly.
Come on, these references are too 90s heavy. Come on, Marcus.
Marcus, it's the 20th of October, which means it's Ringo Fan Mail deadline day. If you send Ringo Starr anything after October 20th, on whatever year it is, he will not be signing it. Peace and love.
Oh, okay.
So
Are the
just
Rolling
remember that.
Stones touring at the moment? They could do something really funny there.
They
I think they are actually. They've got a new album out.
I mean, they're
It
always
sounds
touring,
terrible.
aren't they?
Well, Eric Cantona said he wants them to support him.
He did.
So Eric Cantona started making music. I've not heard any of it. Presumably it's like a more folky
No. It's
Serge
very-
Gainsbourg.
No,
Well,
it's
it sort of changes with every song by the sounds of it.
I would
Right.
say it was late William
metal.
Shatner.
Oh, is it really?
A bit, I think,
A bit speaky.
very talky.
For me, though, his arrogance about his talents and the music itself is giving me the idea that it might be some kind of methadone kind of patch for your obsession with Oasis.
What you reckon?
You know what I mean? It sort of brings you back to the 90s quite nicely, and there's that kind of like swagger and arrogance of Oasis.
If he was doing,
He's coming back to say fuck to
Honestly,
music.
the crap that's coming out of your mouth right now. And also,
get used to it. We're here for an hour.
and also, you two always reference the 90s more than I do, but you just...
I
don't
would.
Stockholm syndrome, isn't it?
Unbelievable. We're just trying to make you love us.
Well, it's just lust at the moment.
Why don't you respect us?
Why don't you respect the Bushwhackers?
Why don't you let me talk about Liverpool versus Everton?
Okay.
All right then. A very 90s fixture.
Yeah.
Do we have to talk about it as well?
A 90s. It would
Shut
be.
your fat mouth.
It happened loads in the 90s. I'd like to see you deny that.
Yeah.
It's more of an 80s fixture when they were both the best two sides.
I agree
in
with
the
Marcus. I
land.
think it's more of an
Yeah,
80s fixture than a 90s one.
Up all of yours.
But Everton did win the FA Cup in 95,
Yeah, they
True.
did.
and they won the league in 85. So
Well, yeah, right.
just saying.
That's not relevant to what I'm saying. They were the best two teams in the land in various moments in the 80s.
Just letting people who are new to this show know that I do know a bit about football.
Well, I'm just giving a bit of background. So
You get angry about funny things.
Let us move forward, Jim, to the modern era. And Everton are looking for just their second win at Anfield this century.
Yeah.
Which sounds worse than it is because it's only 23 years. But it's
23 years.
it's a long old time still. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't the one of those wins only a couple of seasons ago. So they'll have that wind in their sails from only a couple of seasons ago, I'd imagine.
I see.
Because they've consistently built so well, obviously, as we all know.
Well, the Liverpool versus Everton is also the most drawn game in English Football League history. How about
It's
that?
attritional,
everybody?
isn't it?
It's very attritional. It's not the goal fest that's often the North London derby, is it?
No.
Well, Everton like to, in modern times, sort of trying their very best to keep it tight. There's never a rout, is there, really? It's always pretty evenly balanced because it's a really competitive fixture for one club.
Outright. Well, Sean Dyche and Jürgen Klopp have got a bit of history in the tunnel at Anfield.
Oh, I remember this, yeah.
Because once they kissed.
No.
No, they had a spat back in 2021. And
It's a
Dyche
little
said,
bum feel, wasn't it?
well, that's quite a serious allegation, Luke Moore.
I know.
and
Carry on.
I'll do it repeatedly
Carry on.
until I'm up.
I didn't say who felt whose bum.
Just a bum was felt.
Yeah.
Right,
Felt.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it probably wouldn't be Dyche because he had a big long jacket on.
And I think with Klopp and him, it's kind of two very different you've got a good football man against someone who's regarded as being quite modern in his tastes tactically.
I think it might be.
So you can really sort of get behind one or the other. It's a real kind of like heel versus face kind of idea.
But
Isn't
are
it?
we being a touch harsh on Dyche? Because at the moment at Everton, I think he's carried himself fairly well. I mean, obviously there was that whole business with
no one cares about
with Damari Gray going, and there was a bit of a spat there. I admit, but I suppose so. Say Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for example, take him. He's scored a few goals of late, and he said that Sean Dyche's patience in not rushing him back from injuries other Everton managers have done is paying off. Now, you would think that the reputation that, well, certainly we have given Dyche, or perhaps others, that he's a bit more old school and get on with it, for crying out loud, you can walk and so on. It's totally the opposite in that particular situation, because Calvert-Lewin said he has been rushed back from injury, and Dyche said that he as a player remembers being, well, he rushed himself back, I suppose, is how he described it.
He was a meat and potato centre-back, wasn't he, as a player?
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's really important that Calvert-Lewin, it's basically up to him when he comes back, because we can try and cajole him and so on, but he knows his body.
He's a big hamstring guy, isn't he?
Big hamstring guy.
Big hamstring guy. Or not big enough.
Yeah.
It needs to be bigger, to be quite frank. He's always out with a hamstring.
What constitutes a big hamstring guy? You've always got a hamstring injury.
Yeah. Or
Michael
you always feel a bit like, oh. Yeah.
Michael Owen's a massive hamstring guy.
Yeah.
Definite.
Was this not more complicated to knee sort of situation?
He had a few.
Right.
It's all linked, I think. I think when you start to get into a situation where you're out for a long time. So I think they build into the recovery process of a serious knee injury, you're going to get a hamstring.
Right.
Because it's impossible to train.
Have you
it
ever done a
properly.
hamstring? I have. It's
Yeah,
awful.
it's awful, yeah.
It's like you've been shot in the back of the leg.
It's bad. And it depends on the severity of it. But if you snap one,
Yeah.
I've never done that. That's terrible.
Surely it's an operation then, isn't it?
I think serious ones they have to reattach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There and then on the pitch.
Snapping the inside bit of your leg.
Yeah.
Grim.
So you're a big ankle guy, aren't you, Pete?
These days, groin, unfortunately.
Groin guy,
Because
okay.
I
Because
played.
that explosive pace.
Those pelvic movements.
Yeah.
Last time you talked about playing football was on the show on Monday, I think.
Yeah.
And you said that you let 4 goals in 15 minutes, including being lobbed on your line because you're only 5'8".
Yeah.
And that was his highlight of the weekend.
Yeah.
Not the worst keeper in the squad. That's all I'm saying.
Well, presumably not, because you're in the team.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been 5 otherwise. Gentlemen, David Coote has been handed the VAR role for the game. He was on VAR back in 2020 when Jordan Pickford injured Virgil van Dijk.
That was an assault. That was a full-on assault.
Coote decided not to send Pickford off based on a marginal offside call. So, are we going to see more anger, Jim Campbell?
This kind of narrative, maybe I'm forgetting something. Or I've got a short memory, but it seems new to me, this idea, or we're sort of learning about it now, that referees seem to be deliberately kept away, or officials seem to be deliberately kept away from teams where there's been a controversial
Which
incident.
is mental.
Exactly. It suggests that PGMOL kind of
you
don't...
say Pogmol.
You can call them Pogmol.
Yeah,
Just call them the Pogmol posse.
Summer,
Yeah.
the Pug posse. It suggests that they don't trust their referees to not be overawed by the situation, or they don't trust them to be impartial after.
I don't think it's either of those things.
I don't know what it is, but it's.
Well, I'll tell you what it
it's
is.
Something
They can't be bothered
isn't it? It's why
dealing with. They can't be bothered dealing with all the media and the admin. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is, Jim.
Is that reasonable? Surely they should trust every referee and every official to be able to do a good job,
Correct. Yeah.
impartially.
Yes,
you got your
and perhaps they
license.
should stand up for themselves a bit more. But they've got an enormous amount of heat on them, and they just think, okay, let's see if we can cool this off a bit. I think taking off, I forget his name, who got the Luis Diaz goal, the miscommunication there, saying he won't.
Darren England, it was.
Darren England, he shouldn't be involved in another Liverpool game for the rest of the season. I think that sends out totally the wrong message.
Completely.
But we talked about that. But that's what it is.
But what happens now is, we're hearing that David Coote wasn't involved in Liverpool games for a long time, and then exactly the same thing comes up again. It's like, well, why not? Well, what's going to happen now?
And now he's back, and it proves that the house always wins, Jim.
Guys, I'm sure everything will be fine in this game. they've had a Pogmol summer, haven't they?
They have
had Pogmol
Massively
summer.
had a Pogmol summer.
Ah, dear.
Yeah.
You see, 90s references.
Yeah. Marcus, I think that Jim's absolutely full on, spot on. And what I would just add is
He
just
is full on as well.
He's very full on, yeah. I think that they need to almost take a step back and say, every single game, every single team is the same, and all the other stuff that he's complained about, and the official complaints and the escalation and stuff, it's just noise.
Would you be talking about this if it was Brighton Luton? Like, would there be this these changing of like the chess pieces if we were
Possibly not, Peter.
No,
Possibly
I'm saying
not.
definitely not, because
Yeah.
the noise is just less, isn't
What
it?
they should do is before the weekend's fixtures, they should do like a draw, like a cup draw, but which referees are you going to get? And you have the teams and everybody there.
Yeah.
It's like,
Could you have a couple of wild cards?
the whole lot
Yeah, have a couple of wild cards in there.
out of retirement
we've
for
got-
one game? Pierluigi Collina.
I've got David Attenborough.
That's Uriah Rennie's music.
Yeah, nice.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it becomes a huge distraction. But then there's obviously an element to it they don't help themselves. But that David Coote thing in 2020
Yes.
with Pickford's full-on assault of Van Dijk,
Yeah.
where he blatantly should have been sent off. I understand the laws are slightly different when the ball's not technically in play because of offside, but the referee can still send him off.
That's a loophole. I smacked him. Oh, you broke the whistle, though, so it's fair
He's
game,
out of
isn't
play.
it?
Van Dijk was out for ages after that. It was
Well, the severity of the injury is
absolutely right.
obviously the severity of the challenges, which obviously then leads to that.
You can't be dictated by the injury severity. I totally get that because that can happen at any point.
And you also don't know it there and
But
then.
it's still quite
But
a lot of further.
I think we could guess it was going to be a bad one.
circumstantial evidence.
Of course, yeah. Well, one of the ways that we could help clean up the game and how it's officiated, is that the Football Association have reportedly called on autonomous robots to be referees and to be introduced to English football at some point.
That's not helpful for the posse,
but
is it? The FA going, can you get robots instead?
Pete,
Stop pissing about, lads.
As the official
Robot
robot of the
consider-
Ramble,
yeah.
what do you think about this?
I think they may be overcomplicating quite a simple,
I
simple
think
job.
Totally.
I think they're only going halfway because if you want the game completely honest,
Robot
then
footballers.
robot footballers,
Thank
because you can
you.
program in them to be honest.
Yes.
Or just take away all the laws.
yeah.
Right, and let the robots run
Blood
things.
Bowl.
Just do whatever you want.
The Blood Bowl Premier League.
It would be great if you think about it because you just get the hardest people playing.
Yeah.
I think there's already a version of that. They can pick the ball up.
Yes.
It's actually quite shit.
And they're gentlemen.
Yeah, and that.
Yeah.
When you
Not-
get the
not
hardest
the week-
Respectfully downing pints of their own piss
Jim
as
shouldn't
initiation
through
banter.
a sock. Jim shouldn't be criticising rugby on the weekend of England playing the Rugby
Shouldn't
World
be.
Cup
Have some
final.
respect,
Eh.
Jim.
Yeah, like
Some
see
respect.
if you were
I
sat
won't.
here,
I'm full on. I'm full on.
he is full on.
We've heard.
Full on Campbell. If you were sat here with three big rugby players, you wouldn't be saying that, Jim.
Of course I fucking wouldn't.
No, because you get battered.
And you're a coward.
No, I wouldn't get battered. They're respectful. They're
They're
respectful
respectful. They
gentlemen.
respect
That's
people.
true.
Oh dear. But yes, back to the Merseyside derby. If we may, Liverpool will be without Andy Robertson for this game. Of course, he suffered an injury while on Scotland duty, so he'll be a miss. But I mean, what about Liverpool? Andy Brassel and myself were saying recently that the performances have not been quite as good as the results. What do you think
They're
of
still
them?
going to get the
I-
result, aren't they?
I think weirdly for a team of their size and their profile, as you guys have touched on in this conversation, they've gone a bit under the radar at the start of the season. Well, 8 games in. I mean, Andy Robertson will be a miss. I think he's played every game. I think he's played every minute.
He's certainly a regular.
Yeah, and so that's they're probably going to have to play Simicast there, aren't they, instead? Which and I know he's featured in other competitions for them fairly recently, but I find it interesting they've gone a bit under the radar, chiefly because I think there's a lot of other teams in the Premier League making a lot of noise. Man City are always doing it, and Spurs have really taken a lot of the attention. They've sucked in a lot of the press column inches, if you will, just of how well they've started. Arsenal have hit the ground running again as well. And you've always got teams like Brighton and Aston Villa who are kind of fancied and a bit fashionable these days. So I think they'll be pretty content with that. Having said what I've said, you know, I mean, I'm trying to think. They lost to Spurs, didn't they? In a kind of
Weird circumstances.
fairly close one, yeah.
Sure.
And other than that, they've been decent. Look, it's very early days still. I think they're a good team.
But they've shown real grit, though.
I
That
think-
win against Newcastle, and even the performance against Spurs,
the turnaround.
where they were
against,
very unfortunate not to get a point.
the turnaround against Newcastle was incredible.
It was.
And when you talk about them perhaps not being quite as good as their results, they were the second best team in that game, and they turned it around and were able to do something. I also think they're coming off the back of effectively a quite quiet season,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And under Klopp historically, there's a pattern there with that stuff.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be hugely surprised if they do something quite decent.
This is the ideal game for them, surely, off the back of an international break. I know missing Robertson isn't ideal, but home game against Everton, a lot riding on it because of the context of that game. I think they'll have a nice afternoon.
There's a slight fitness concern with Darwin Núñez, which would be a shame not to see old Captain Chaos play because he's had a good international break, of course.
Yeah.
We'd like to see that, wouldn't we, Jimmy? As
Yeah,
neutrals?
absolutely. Yeah, it's certainly in a derby.
Yeah.
This is exactly the person you want to see in there, old Captain Chaos.
Oh, it's a hat trick or it's a 10-minute red card.
Absolutely. Or it could even be both.
yeah.
Well, it's been quite the week for Everton, of course, as a hearing into the club's alleged breach of Premier League profit and sustainability rules begun.
That's what what they need at this point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who'd have thought that was coming?
Stadium on the go.
Well, they obviously vehemently deny this, of course, all the allegations. But if found guilty, they could face a range of punishments, including a fine, transfer embargo, or points deduction. So they go into battle there. This is all the while Everton's controversial takeover discussions continue. So, yeah, I would say never a dull moment at Everton, but some
I
of the
think they'd
football
love a dull
would-
moment.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Some of the football.
Yeah, speaking of takeovers, it looks like Sir Big Jim Radcliffe's 25% takeover at Manchester United is set to be delayed, according to reports as well. So just a bit of admin there, everybody.
Is that because United is such a high-profile company? They're on the stock exchange and all the rest of it. They have to do a lot of due diligence. Presumably, it is, right?
Yeah, presumably getting
You
like...
want me to confirm that, do you?
Yeah, I think it's probably the case, right? And also,
Yeah, I will.
the other thing about it I find odd is that he's taken over a reasonably small percentage of the club, and the understanding is over time he will take over the whole thing, right? That's basically what the
I think that's the hope, isn't it?
I think that's the way the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
And then, but at the same time, and I think Vish did touch on this maybe a bit earlier this week. It's kind of a bit odd that the Glazers have said, we're not going to sell to you, but we are going to let you take over football operations of the football club, which is basically the core of the business.
A rare, strange decision from the Glazers.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you mean.
Do they just do nothing then?
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, they're probably presumably they're in charge of commercial operations, which they see him as the powerhouse of the profit and loss and the business, right?
Indeed, yeah. Who bloody knows? But let's stay in Manchester because Manchester City are hosting Brighton on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. Opta's supercomputer has said that Manchester City's title chances have fallen by nearly 20%.
What a blow.
Pete, what do you reckon the Opta supercomputer looks like?
I reckon it's probably, for the calculations that you need to do, you would probably say a mobile phone these days, surely. I mean, we imagine this supercomputer being, one of those big, is it Deep Blue, the IBM one that was really popular in the 90s? Like,
there was a Cray one as well, remember Cray?
We're imagining this massive kind
Or a
of data
sort of
centre.
robot Andy.
Yes. Or, but I reckon it's probably just one computer. There's your supercomputer.
It's crunching a bit of data. Is it because it's men of a certain age who are sub-editors on newspapers?
Think
they
that's
still
a supercomputer.
They still can use the
Opta supercomputer.
Yeah, like cybercrime. Supercomputer. And any kind of phrase that's about 20 years out of date, they'll still use, basically.
Do they refer to the Opta boffins?
Yeah, exactly. Or a player's been caught having nookie.
Having a data romp.
Yeah.
One in a bed romp.
The Opta supercomputers are a data romp. They said that Man City have got no chance of winning the league now.
I'm going to start using the word romp more. Oh, I had a real romp on Call of Duty last night.
Sadly, it would be relevant to what we get up to now.
I think your neighbours have already had enough of you. I don't think you should carry on doing that.
I think they use that word about you a lot. He's romping again.
He's romping again.
Romping and bonking. Pete Donaldson.
He's got his romper suit on.
I was about to say, his romper suit.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, ahead of their last clash in May, Manchester City and Brighton, of course, Pep Guardiola said of Roberto De Zerbi, I think Roberto is one of the most influential managers in the last 20 years. He always goes over the top with the praise.
Does, doesn't
I
he?
really don't think it's mind games either. I think he really is just constantly spilling over with mad ideas and theories
he
and
loves
concepts.
football. He loves the
does.
people who play it and manage it. He just loves every part of it. He's like, it's brilliant. Everything's brilliant or rubbish.
Do you think Nathan Redmond is just wandering around all the time going, I've peaked. I can't
Do you
get
reckon
back to those heights.
You don't reckon there's a mind game part of it at all?
No, he's just like Pep. Out of 5, Robocop, 5. Short Circuit, 5. Moving away from the 90s, Plan 9 from Outer Space, 5. Everything's a 5 out of 5. He just cannot stop.
Just
He loves everything.
He loves everything.
Yeah. Short
And I think
Circuit was
that's good.
1986, by the way.
All right.
Not
Yeah.
90s.
All right, fine.
Get it right.
First time you've ever Googled something on your laptop during a show.
Is that right?
Congratulations.
I just Googled image you. Bloody hell.
One of the main guys in Short Circuit directed that Beckham
we spoke
documentary.
about it,
Yeah, we did speak about it recently. Well, since De Zerbi's arrival in the Premier League, only Arsenal and Manchester City have scored more goals than Brighton. That is impressive, Jim Campbell.
He's one of the most influential managers of the last 20 years. Isn't that really surprising?
I was surprised to see that Arsenal scored more goals than Man City.
90.
I think Arsenal scored the most goals they'd ever scored in a Premier League season, certainly last year.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Manchester City 88 and Brighton 82.
It's not bad.
Absolutely right.
See, I mean,
Conceded a fair few, to be fair, though.
for those tactical boffins
Right.
that like this kind of stuff, this would be a great game for them. But obviously, they're not going to be able to watch it, are they?
No, of course they're not going to be watching because the Premier League has confirmed it's going to stick to the Saturday 3 p.m. blackouts. But the number of matches on TV is going to increase from 2025, including all 10 matches on the final day of the season.
I thought we had that anyway for some reason.
Well,
Have I gone a bit mad?
I know what you mean.
I thought they were on Amazon for some reason, but I may be wrong on that one.
Amazon does have a few match days through the season where they show all of them on Prime, but I don't think the final day is.
Usually
I don't think Sky Sports would give that.
The final day's on a Sunday, so usually they'll have the games of interest if there are any. If there's a title race, so say Liverpool, Man City games will be on there.
I thought.
I suppose what you're touching on there is interesting because I suppose a good number of those games on the final day just won't be relevant.
Yeah.
8th versus 11th or whatever. It's not going to make any difference.
But yeah, it's funny though when they say the amount of matches on TV is going to increase. Well, again, the fans
it needs to increase to
the fans will be
most
screwed.
amount.
The fans will be screwed over there because what they'll do is they'll move games earlier and then later, and people have got to travel and so on. And
7 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's well, do you remember they used to do 11 a.m. kickoffs? It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
So
getting pasta down at 5 a.m.
I remember.
Really had a problem.
Players would say that, wouldn't they? You have to eat all that kind of stuff.
I remember quite a prominent Arsenal Man United game being 11 a.m.
But Man City versus Brighton, is there going to be an upset, Pete Donaldson?
What would an upset be, though?
What would upset be?
Brighton winning or drawing?
Deadpan. Man City lost to Wolves last time out. Or the time before.
So what?
Just
if they're going to lose against anyone, I think Brighton's exactly the sort of side to be able to land a blow. Personally, so 1-1.
Yeah,
Good.
I mean, they are in a by their own standards a mini blip. I think Brighton might be good for a draw here because De Zerbi's very, very good at the old tacticals, isn't he? So, I mean, Rodri's back. That's massive. That makes a huge difference. So that might kind of make that a bit null. But we obviously know that Pep respects De Zerbi a lot. De Zerbi's very good at sort of approaching these games against the bigger teams. You always look at these games thinking Brighton might get something against all of the top six.
Yeah.
They feel like a team who belong in that bracket when it comes to competitiveness on the day. So I think they could get something.
They could get
so
something.
they'll almost certainly get absolutely tonked.
Well, they're currently just 2 points behind Manchester City. I think Mitoma's there's a slight injury concern over him. But I think, again, going back to Nathan Redmond, because Pep was annoyed that he didn't sort of dribble and attack at them more.
Yeah.
He's going to think, every time I get the ball, just run straight at them, because I can't be dealing with him.
I do think there's an element as well with some of these Brighton players who are playing for a good team and they're, forging really good reputations for themselves. And we talked, didn't we, about Pascal Gross and his kind of his interest in the German national team and stuff. Some of these players who are really talented players, they just think, you know what? Against Man City, all the attention is going to be on me. I'm going to have a lovely old time.
Yeah.
Someone like Mitoma, I feel the character he seems to be.
If he plays, which he probably will.
I think he probably will play.
Yeah.
And he could really make a day of it. I think it's a really interesting game, which is why it's annoying that we can't watch it.
Yeah, well, and as you say, Manchester City have lost their last two, so the international break was very welcome from them, of course, saved by the old bell, you could say, because who knows how long that losing streak would have gone on for.
Yeah,
but it still can be continued if Brighton do the
Pick
business. Yeah.
Imagine if they went 5 or 6 games and then people started to say,
the title is over.
Is Pep the right man?
They'd still come back, wouldn't they? All right, let's go for a quick break.
Let's not take the piss here.
I certainly wasn't.
Well, I think you are.
Well, I think you are.
Did you see the video of Roy Hodgson eating a squirrel?
It was a horrible video of a seagull eating a squirrel, and then he just flew off with a squirrel in his belly.
Gave Roy a high five. A high wing, a feather, whatever it would be. Chelsea versus Arsenal.
Roy did a little pellet in the background.
Oh, yeah. Chelsea versus Arsenal on Saturday at 5:30 in the evening. Chelsea won their last 3 games before the international break. What a turnaround from them. Obviously, we saw them beat Fulham, of course, which was a very, very sad affair for myself.
And that was a bit of a nothing game, as those people who listen to Ramble Reacts probably worked out, because we had to do a lot of entertainment, didn't we, Marcus?
A lot of entertainment.
We couldn't talk about the game very much because it was a quick 1-2 from Chelsea.
Yes.
Fulham couldn't get back in the game, and it was really just a very, very low-key day at the office for Chelsea.
That's right.
Which is a damning indictment for Fulham on that particular occasion. This game will go a long way towards letting us know whether Chelsea are starting to put themselves into a proper coherent unit and they're a serious concern for whatever their ambitions are this season, because I think something decent, properly decent, is going to be beyond them. But they could make a good fist of the season if they carry on the way they're going. And a game against Arsenal, who are very good, would be a great litmus test.
It would. Yeah, I mean, as I say, the Chelsea, their results have improved in the last 3 games, 1 in the Carabao Cup and 2 in the league. So they were desperately needing to put something together. Are you concerned, Jim Campbell, that because I remember thinking before the Fulham game, I thought, I think Chelsea are going to start to begin to click.
Yeah.
Mudryk gets his goal, which will give him confidence. He's had a lot of scrutiny and so on.
Scored for Ukraine as well, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Sterling has started to score as well. They're just getting a few more goals in there, which is something that they were struggling with.
Well, they look serious, don't they? I mean, even when they were going through that run of really patchy form, Pochettino said, I'm not actually too worried because if you look at the numbers, they're pretty good.
The performances
we're not
weren't
far
terrible.
off what we want to be doing.
It was
just
the
about
results.
scoring goals. And they were excellent against Burnley. They really, really sort of took control of that game. So I think this is potentially quite a tricky one because Chelsea feel serious again in a way that they hadn't done for a while because they all just they'd looked a bit lost with so much turmoil and so many sort of new personnel coming in and going out. And obviously gradually as they get players back, because they've got a massive injury list as well, they are going to keep augmenting that. So yeah, I think this is potentially quite a tricky one, but these are the challenges that Arsenal have to keep rising to now. And it's been a while since they go into a game like this where you would expect them to get anything really, even though their record at Stamford Bridge over the past few seasons has been really good. It's interesting to try and sort of get used to this idea that Arsenal were the favourites in a game. So they'll be looking to win, obviously, and they'll be looking to control the game as well, which is something that they've kind of been good at this season without being like fully clicking. But I think again,
you think they could
as
control
much
the
as-
game
as-
against Chelsea?
well, that's got to be the aim, isn't it? That's what Arteta's aim in every game, and it's taken Arsenal a while to click this season, but obviously, they're still second in the table, unbeaten in the league, and there are signs of it. So I think this could be a sort of entertaining one. And with Mudryk versus Havertz, it is the absolute goth off, isn't it? It's properly absolute, just existential narrative drama all over the shop.
I think that's harsh on Mudryk.
I don't think either of them are going to start the game anyway.
You don't think?
Well, I mean,
I think Havertz might start.
if Havertz plays, it'll be his first return. Well, I mean, he will return to Stamford Bridge. You'd imagine he would be.
You're leaning into the
No, I
narrative
can't go
rather
in there.
than the form table there,
I
right?
can't go in there. I'll just sit outside.
I've not done anything yet.
William Gallas was particularly harsh on him, Peter, wasn't he? Of late,
Was he harsh?
he's done nothing since he joined, and I think he's in trouble.
Wait, he said he's in trouble with the boss or something.
No, I think he was like, he's in trouble, mate. When if
He's
I
in
get
a big
my hands on
trouble.
him.
All you can hear is this noise. Yeah, I'm going to bash him. I'm going to bash him. But Havertz, I don't know what. I really fancied him in an Arsenal side, and I know assists and goals aren't all that. Where he's playing that kind of almost Xhaka replacement kind of role. But why give him penalties and stuff? You know
Well,
what I
that
mean?
was purely to boost his confidence.
Why
getting on the
though?
score
Like,
sheet.
if that's
Well,
not,
it's to
it's
boost his
either important or it
confidence.
isn't. It's either important or it isn't.
Why is it important to boost his confidence, Pete?
Who needs confidence when you've got skill? Yeah.
Do you want me to boost your confidence?
No, because it probably involves you touching me.
I like the shirt you're wearing today.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
And I like the shacket you came in today as well.
Thank you.
Very nice.
2-0 to Donaldson.
I like how concerned you looked when you realised that your dog hadn't been picked up for daycare today as well.
Yeah.
Where's
yeah.
the dog now?
I've not looked. Do you want me to check?
2-1.
Wandering the streets.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see if Mudryk or Havertz, or indeed both, start. Mauricio Pochettino said recently that he's fine with the club owners coming into the team's dressing room after matches, as long as they do not come for some speech.
Yeah, as long as they respect their lemons,
That's
they
right.
can do what they like.
I mean, is it ever been a good thing?
Yeah.
And surely the owners must know that.
Well, I think basically what you're saying is it's their club, they can go where they want, but please don't do my job.
So if they come in at the end of the season once they've won the league and said, well done everyone, great stuff,
So hang
champagne's
on.
on me, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if they come in and say, you're shit, you're
Yeah,
shit,
you're
you're even
even shit,
shitter,
yeah.
that's not going to work.
That's
is
a
it?
problem.
Particularly when the guy who owns the club clearly knows the square root of absolutely fuck all about football.
You're giving him the square root here.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
He knows about as much about football as Jake fucking Humphrey.
Don't have a go at Jake.
Don't have a
He's
go
in
at Jake.
Barcelona.
You two have changed your tune.
No, Jake's done the honourable thing and bowed out.
You said I should do the same. All right, fair enough. Give it to the end of the show.
There we go. Did you see, Jim, that Aaron Ramsdale is spoken about losing his place as the number one choice at Arsenal? Or is he number one? I mean, sort of.
Well, I heard it was a competition. It sounds like he feels like he lost that competition
He's
already.
lost his position as a number one goalkeeper at Arsenal. Like everyone with half a brain knew he would. As soon as Arteta said, I want that guy over there. because he's much better.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm suffering and hurting."
And that's
Yeah.
not good. I mean, it's a sad thing.
It is a
I'm
sad
not saying-
thing.
He deserves
You changed your
sympathy.
tune.
No,
I
he
think
deserves sympathy, but he's got a goalkeeper who's better than him.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And
Well,
I think
the manager thinks it's better than
it is marginal, and I think Raya plays in a slightly different way that he feels is more productive for the team, etc., etc. But I think this,
And what way
this
is
was
that?
always going to. So David Raya is very good at sort of hanging on to the ball until the opposition make a move, and he'll then find a passing angle and ping it out to give you the sort of technical answer. That's essentially what David Raya himself has been saying this week.
Which was very fruitful, if you like, for Brentford. And
Absolutely, and apart from the shaky start against City, was also really useful there. It's not like Ramsdale's distribution is bad;
No.
it really is marginal in terms of the difference. But this was always going to happen, wasn't it? And it's something that Arteta's going to have to manage. And the timing of it isn't particularly useful, but it's never going to be useful. And Aaron Ramsdale has every right to talk about how he feels. So my concern is that this might become an issue in January, because with the Euros coming up, Ramsdale's going to want to play. He would be well within his rights to start agitating for a move that early if he thinks the writing might be on the wall.
He's not England number one, though. If he was England number one and he started to not get...
I mean,
But if for some reason Pickford can't make the Euros, which is possible,
Well, he turns
someone's
up
going to
late.
have to step in.
Well, if the-
We could get
Who
injured or
knows- who
fall down a
knows?
well or something.
who knows who Southgate's going to pick in the fucking psychodrama selection tombola?
Indeed.
It doesn't matter. No one knows. Ramsdale could not play another game for the rest of the season and still be in the England squad. That
Wait,
could be the case.
What are you doing?
You know what I'm doing, and I'll
Tell him
also
the
tell you.
truth.
I'll also tell you this. You know, it's absolutely fine for Ramsdale to come out and say what he thinks and do the best for his own career. But one thing about the distribution conversation around Raya versus Ramsdale, which has dominated this whole thing, Raya wants to do this, Arteta wants to do this, Arteta wants to do that. Raya's better at the stuff Jim talks about. That's all fine. He also makes loads more saves. He's got a far better save percentage than Ramsdale has. And the writing was on the wall as soon as Arteta clearly made quite a ruthless decision, understandably so, but quite a ruthless decision to say, I want the Arsenal team to be as good as they can be, and that goalkeeper loves Arsenal and he's available, so I want him.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's also said that if he makes a few mistakes here and there with the distribution, that's all right. And if you're Ramsdale, it's going to be like, oh, God, how am I getting back in here?
I also found, and I said it at the time, I also found the punditry oddly, it was some way disrespectful that a manager wanted to improve his own team. You don't say that when they sign a centre-back or a forward.
Because he gives good interviews in English. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the tale all the time, isn't it, I suppose, with pundits.
Maybe this
What,
is
they're
me
defending
being...
the English player? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
Surprising.
it's true.
What a surprise.
Well, I just anyway. Carry on, Jim.
After all we've given the world, they turn on you like that. Maybe this is me being naive and hopeful for Aaron Ramsdale in particular, because I really like him. But Brighton have been rotating their goalkeepers. Maybe as the season goes on, we will see a bit of a surprise, and he will do it a bit more. Having two top goalkeepers is a good thing.
Brighton have been rotating the goalkeepers looking behind them.
He might even bring him on after 60 minutes. He said, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he
that
did,
he would fancy doing that.
That's a really interesting point, and that's something we talked about on here as well. And it goes back to Pete's point earlier. Brighton can do it because it's just nowhere near as much attention on them.
Absolutely,
No
yeah.
one says anything. You know, it's apparently absolutely baffling that Arsenal want two good goalkeepers. Yet sometimes people overlook the fact that, as you said, Brighton have been doing it for a long old time. So I felt like Arteta was trying to make Ramsdale feel welcome, try and say all the right things, that every player in his squad is important, and you expect him to do that.
Yeah.
It was obvious, I felt, that Raya was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And as soon as he picked him for the North London derby, that was a writing on the wall.
But also, it's one of the things I was very worried about last season, apart from what happening, was an injury to Ramsdale. Because with all respect to Matt Turner, he's a very, very different type of goalkeeper. It would have completely changed the way the team play.
Yeah.
And, due diligence is having a solution to that problem ready to go. And this is part of that as well.
If you, I just think that you should apply the logic to the same as way you would at every other position. If you've got a forward, if you're Arsenal and you've got a forward who scores 20 goals, and you get availability to sign a player who scored 40 goals last season, he wants to come to Arsenal, of course you're going to get him.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
That's just how it is, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, Luke, you and Andy Brassel are recording a Ramble Reacts after the Saturday night games.
Yeah.
Sheffield United also in action, hosting Manchester United at 8 p.m. So that'll be in your podcast feed first thing on Sunday morning.
It will. I love
How
the way.
exciting.
I love also that we've written that as in that's a Sheffield United game at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. It's not a Man United game. They're hosting Man United. Man United are welcome to be there. They'll play their part, but it's a Sheffield United game. We're doing both of those on Ramble Reacts. Me and Andy. I'll be talking absolute shit, and Andy will know what he's talking about, so it's worth tuning in.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I framed it like that because, obviously Sheffield United, Aaron Ramsdale's former club.
Absolutely right, and deserving of respect.
Deserving of respect.
Hopefully they can get their first win of the season. That would actually be really
It
good.
would be fun.
Would they beat Man United on Saturday night? What a Saturday night treat! That'd be brilliant.
Gentlemen, we've just mentioned Manchester United, and it's just reminded me that Wayne Rooney's now operating again in England.
Back.
How about that? Not at Manchester United. He's too good for that.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. He's going to take charge of his first game as Birmingham City manager on Saturday, and he's up against another former Manchester United man, Michael Carrick, because his Middlesbrough team are in town. In his first press conference, Rooney said that his aim was instant promotion to the Premier League. Big talk.
Instant.
I love it.
Big talk
Massive.
from the
Why
big
not?
man, yeah.
Why not?
It was a great press conference for a number of different reasons. One, because all the reporters that were present
Yeah.
got a real crash course in something they'd forgotten, which is like how no nonsense and how hard Wayne Rooney is.
yeah.
He's not scared of any question.
Or anyone.
No, and he flat bats everything away.
Uh-huh.
And the scene was set when one of the reporters asked him if it was, I can't remember the exact wording of the question, but if it was like, is it acceptable that he was earning 3 times the amount of wages that the predecessor was? He's reported that he's on $1.5 million a year or whatever, and he was like so no nonsense. He was like, mate, I've had so many offers. I could have gone anywhere. Like he was literally like, I got offered so much money at other places, which obviously he probably meant Saudi Arabia.
Indeed.
Right? And so straight away he set his stall out and he was like, right, here I am. This is me, for better or worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it may well be for worse. He's going to do it on his own terms, and I like that.
Being invited to apologise for what you earn is a bold,
Yeah, it is. It's a
question,
bit of a
isn't
weird
it, from
one.
a
Yeah.
journalist?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, what do you expect them to say? Well, I'm obviously a better negotiator.
They probably look at him and sort of go, what's he going to spend it on?
Yeah.
It's going to be Mikey Carroll with his trail
that's
bikes,
out of
isn't it?
order.
What do you mean?
Don't project what you would be like if you had loads of money to Wayne Rooney.
He's having a fight with boxing gloves in his house.
You've got
Come on.
You've got the most Mickey Carroll energy of anyone here.
Yeah, correct.
You would
Proud.
definitely do a little
Loud and proud.
dirt track in your house. At
In
back
the
of your
house.
Also, we
Through
should
the
also,
house, yeah.
we should also say, lest it not be forgotten,
Oh, no.
that who is Wayne Rooney going to be working for at Birmingham?
Oh, the
Big
what's his
Gary
name?
Cook.
Oh, I thought
Big
you-
Gary
I
Cook.
thought you were talking
Not
about
Brady.
Not Brady.
Surprisingly enough, when Birmingham City were forced to publish, as it's a legal requirement, all their inner workings and everything like that as a company,
Cook's in there.
Brady has got a less than 1% share. Nothing going on there. But Gary Cook is calling the shots. Gary Cook, who was also recently the erstwhile executive president and the CEO of the Saudi Professional League. So I think what's probably happened is Gary Cook's gone after Rooney.
Yeah.
He's not going to get him. He's gone to Birmingham. He said, will you come to Birmingham? And he said, yeah, I'll come to Birmingham.
You sort of get the feeling that we're in this dugout, Carrick versus Rooney. It's like the haves and the have-nots, really. Because like Gibson, I think wants to sell the club. I think he's written off like
Finally.
120 million or
Right.
something of his input, like a proper football chairman that you don't really see anymore.
Been around for years, Gibson,
exactly, and I think
yeah.
he's and I think he wants to sell. But Carrick's just got nothing really to spend, and Rooney on the other hand has got slightly more moneyed club.
And also the Carrick situation at Middlesbrough. Of course, he came in October, about a year ago, didn't he? About a year ago, and did pretty well.
After the Warlock, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. No, it was after Chris Wilder, wasn't it?
Oh,
Chris Wilder was there, and then he took
to
over.
me, like Neil Warnock was there like last week.
He's in every championship.
Yeah.
He's
pie.
everywhere, all the time.
Yeah, because he's been. I mean, he's managed elsewhere since. Or,
Yeah,
you know.
Neil Warnock will outlive all of us. He's like the Keith Richards of football.
Yeah.
But their form's starting to pick up Middlesbrough.
Well, yeah,
They're
that's what I was
they're
going to say.
getting
So
there,
he does a good job at Middlesbrough. They get to fourth. They get knocked out in the semi-final of the playoffs, and they start the season quite badly this season, but they've won 4 in a row now.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting matchup, and I think
But Birmingham are going quite well. It was a surprise that they sacked the manager.
and
But
it's
if Wazza wants the job, then who's going to say no?
who's going to turn him down?
He's
He's putting the gloves on. He's putting the boxing gloves on.
Give him the job. Give him the job.
yeah. The championship is it's interesting generally. Really interesting in terms of management this season. I mean, Kieran McKenna at Ipswich, who's doing amazing things. Really exciting young coach, came from Man United for his first proper job. And then Enzo Maresca, who earned his kind of stripes under Guardiola at City, right? Gets his first job. And Leicester, who, of course, have got an amazing squad by championship standards.
He's a bit of a madhead as well.
He's
like
still got
Pep.
to do it. And he's mental. He's what I was going to say. He's completely off the chart. You can tell he's learned under Guardiola. And that's how you can tell Guardiola's got this amazing charisma, because the weirdness that Arteta's got comes from Guardiola.
Yeah.
The weirdness that Maresca's got, similar thing probably.
I wonder if it's more that Guardiola is attracted to people with a similar intensity. So it's
Chicken
not
and
so
egg.
much him, yeah, indeed, not so much him rubbing off on them, but him identifying like-minded people.
I'd love to see Arteta shave his head before a big game against City.
That would throw him, wouldn't it? Yeah. But you have got some interesting operators in the Championship. You've also got the David Wagner group at Norwich City.
Yeah.
And then at Leeds United, you've got Daniel Farke getting some of the topics right because they are currently fifth.
And you've got Agent Russell Martin bringing down Southampton from the inside. Always nice to see.
On the subject of Leeds United, as it was just mentioned there, did you see, because we were talking about Marcelo Bielsa and his Uruguay side on Wednesday, it's emerged that a group of Leeds United fans, including the bassist of Kaiser Chiefs, has...
He's got nothing on now. Absolutely nothing on. 5-10 years ago, he's been interviewed by Pete Donaldson.
Yeah.
That's true.
In a phone booth, I seem to recall the last interview I did with the Kaiser Chiefs.
And that is the death bell, isn't it?
That is the death bell. If you're in a phone booth with me, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Or you're trying to hatch some kind of plan.
You say he's got nothing on. Well, he's filling his time very, very wisely, I would say, because him and some Leeds fans travelled all the way to South America to see Marcelo Bielsa and see his Uruguay team and all that. And they gave Bielsa one of his buckets.
Nice.
I think one of his prominent buckets that he would sit on at Leeds United. It's funny that he left it there, but then if you're Bielsa, presumably you've got access to other buckets, as we all do.
But it's nice that he's got that bucket, and hopefully we'll see it in the Uruguayan dugout.
It's the most famous bucket other than the Colonel Sanders KFC bucket. And this is exactly the kind of...
Bucket head from Guns N' Roses is quite a famous bucket as well.
That's true.
Oh, Wooly. He used to sit on a bucket.
Wally, yeah. There's a lot of famous buckets now, I think about it.
Hyacinth bucket.
Yeah, good one. Keep coming, don't they? They keep coming. The Kaiser Chief basis doing this is exactly the kind of financial decision which is going to mean they're going to be forced to put out another best of this time next year.
Little mini arena tour or something.
You a fan?
No, I wasn't so much.
No, not really.
The lead singer of who's the ones who dress that new metal band who dress in weird costumes? Slipknot. The lead singer, he said his favourite album was the first Kaiser Chiefs album.
Employment, is it called?
The Employment, yeah. Interesting.
Very straight. Off the wall decision. That.
Mad.
Off the wall decision. Is it as mad as employing Pascal Chimbonda as manager of Skelmersdale in the North West Counties League Premier Division?
I think if you get that opportunity, you take it, surely.
Well, he sat on some prominent benches before, Jim, notably one in the World Cup final.
I love that. I know, it's amazing. And I love that you get players who are obviously not from this part of the world, come to the Premier League, settle here, have some kind of life, and then they always just hang around.
Yeah.
And Chimbonda doing this, I mean, what's his thinking process? Is he, I just need to keep busy?
My favourite of that genre might be Gaisaka Mendieta.
Yeah, just hanging out in Middlesbrough somewhere.
Olivier Bernard, just hanging around in Newcastle. I think he teaches youth football or something.
Does Gaisaka Mendieta live in Yarm or something?
Yeah,
he probably would live in Yarm.
It's a nice part. Yeah, okay, right.
There's a few. I think that actually
Mendieta's like proper Spanish football royalty.
Oh, yes. I mean, I think he may spend his time between the two countries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people love the North East, Peter.
Yeah, they do. It's a nice place. The standard of living up there is absolutely
why did you leave?
Needed work. There's no jobs.
Oh dear.
No, you needed work that didn't involve you doing any actual work.
Correct.
Let's be absolutely
also a bit rich. 3-1.
I was about to say he's sat at the table with us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've all done the same. We're all here for the same reason.
We're all in the same stupid trough.
Oh dear. Well, Pascal was appointed last Sunday. His side are currently bottom. He's made quite the impact, as according to reports, he argued with every refereeing decision in their game against Kendal Town. He shouted at the Kendal Town manager, "I'll give you a tenner if you make 10 passes."
He's already getting to the spirit of non-league football.
Kendal beat them 3-1, by the way.
Yeah.
And obviously he doesn't like the direct football. It's 9th tier English league, man. And he offered the Kendal Town chairman a steak dinner if they beat them in the reverse fixture later in the season.
It's great.
Good.
It's rare that you hear of a manager pressing, but I think if there is an equivalent, this is it.
You're leaning into narrative as well. You're creating stories for later in the season. Which what the league needs is what the team needs.
Yeah. Presumably the Kendal Town manager was thinking, all right, I will have it, but I'm not having it with you.
And also, voucher, please.
It's quite a lazy job for Pascal Chimbonda because it's, he can. It's a kind of job where he could just walk into the club and say, "I'm Pascal Chimbonda. You're bottom of the league. Just by being who I am, I can do this job." Maybe. And they're going to say yes. And I predict we'll be doing a story in about 3 months' time where he's no longer the manager of Skelmersdale.
I mean, you say, what's your pedigree? Okay, you were an unused sub in the World Cup final. Yeah. You won a trophy with Spurs? Oh, okay, well, that is rather impressive.
It's just a big hen's tooth.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, what? It's a simple game of categories. If you go too slow, you're going to be hearing Gary, Neville, which will leave you 7 seconds. Marcus
Hi.
cantered to a win over an outsourced Jim Campbell last week, because Jim is usually pretty good. To
a
remain
shocker.
lineal champion. We're gonna-
Jimmy to the B, the official documenter of this game on Twitter, says that Jim's not actually that good.
I'm lagging
statistically.
behind this
Okay,
season.
right, fine. Oh, well, I just
Gives
get
the
the
impression
sense.
of someone who's quite decent.
Okie
yeah.
dokie, fine.
There's
resting
the
on
mind game. There's the
on
mind
previous
game.
victories. Jim, we're going to kick things off with you with the first question. Each Premier League club's current longest-serving player.
Oh, that's great.
So that's the longest-serving player for each Premier League club who is still there. This doesn't include the youth career. It's since they signed a professional contract with the club. There are 20 players, of course. Each Premier League club's current longest-serving player. Think of a club, think of a player. It's as simple as that.
Oh, that is a good question.
Hey, Mohamed El Neni.
Whoa, that's
I
good.
like that.
Well
7
done.
years, 8 months.
Oi,
Congratulations.
That's your
Jim.
knowledge gone now.
That's gone. Absolutely gone.
I'm seriously impressed with that.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a big
lovely
power
start.
play from
It
Jim. You
is.
know, we were slagging him off early, but my goodness.
I know the players at my own club. Come on.
Come on, Marcus.
Oh
Who's your Fulham lad?
yeah, thanks. Well, let's go for Tom Kearney then.
That's what I would have guessed. They've had to go Fulham.
Yeah.
Oh, unlucky. Unlucky.
Okay, so
Unlucky.
I'm going to go with Son Heung-min.
Oh.
And Jim's got it.
Yeah,
An early win for
got
Jim
around
after all that
it.
slagging.
Is it Ben Davies at Spurs?
Hugo Lloris.
Oh, he's still there.
Of course he
11,
is, yeah.
11 years,
Do you know
1
what?
month. What you could have won. Aaron Cresswell at West Ham, Adam Smith at Bournemouth, Chris Basham at Sheffield United, Hugo Lloris at Spurs we had, Joe Gomez at Liverpool, Joe Worrell at Nottingham Forest, Joel Ward at Crystal Palace,
Not Joel and Joel.
Johan Gudmundsson at Burnley, John McGinn at Villa, Kevin De Bruyne at Man City, Lewis Dunk, Brighton, Luke Shaw, Man United, 9 years, Marek Rodak at Fulham, Max Kilman at Wolves, Mohamed El Neni at Arsenal, obviously Jim got that one, Paul Dummett at Newcastle, 12 years, 3 months, Pelly Ruddock and Panzu at Luton, 9 years, Rico Henry at Brentford, Seamus Coleman at Everton, and finally for now, Trevor Chalobah at Chelsea. Just 5 years and 7 months.
Blimey.
I was trying to think about the Chelsea one, and I just thought to
Yeah.
myself, don't guess
why are you
Chelsea.
doing that?
Yeah,
Don't guess Chelsea. Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether it counts as you being loaned out.
So,
All right,
Jim's
round
on
number
match
2.
point.
We're going to kick things off with Marcus Speller this round. Clubs Manchester United have lost to in competitive games since they were beaten 7-0 by Liverpool on March the 5th.
Blimey.
Clubs Man United have lost to in competitive games since they were beaten 7-0 by Liverpool on March the 5th. There are 9 clubs. Marcus, kick us
Brighton.
off.
Oh, you fucking wanker.
Got beaten twice by Brighton.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Ew.
Okay. God, why does your mind go blank when you're playing
Yeah.
a stupid game?
That'll help.
Man City. Fuck off. Luke.
Unlucky, Loki. Loki's
Pointless.
out.
It's not unlucky, it's just crap.
Jim.
Arsenal.
I knew it.
Galatasaray.
Oh, lovely.
Bayern Munich.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done, Jim.
Come on, Spelsy.
Jim for the win. Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh, lovely.
Aston Villa.
Oh, Marcus, what's the point?
Unbelievable, Marcus Spurlock. We could have had Crystal Palace, Newcastle United, or
Newcastle
Sevilla.
United, yeah.
Yeah.
Newcastle United.
Who was the last one?
Sevilla.
Oh, yeah.
Sevilla.
Fucking
And
hell.
West Ham, sorry.
Oh, man, you'd have been,
Off the page. Off
You'd
the
have been
page.
in right,
Don't worry.
right a lot of trouble this weekend.
Fortunately, no one
Especially in
said
your
it.
manner.
Exactly. All right, Lucky Moo, you're up for this one.
Come on, Luke.
That's all
Take
right.
it to a tiebreaker.
Don't
Take
patronise
us.
me.
Take us.
Oi, get yourself a point.
Just jam that in the canal. Just jam that big boat in there so no one can get past. Go on. Don't achieve anything. Just stop everyone else from. Players to score a Premier League hat trick for Man City. Players to score a Premier League hat trick for Manchester City. There are 16 players.
Erling Haaland.
Sergio Aguero.
You reckon?
Raheem Sterling.
Oh, he has. You know.
Riyad Mahrez.
Oh, I like it.
Edin Dzeko.
Oh, nice.
He has.
Mm. This is poor.
It's not really. quite hard when you think about it.
How many are left?
Talking about my own performances,
Oh,
Paul.
right, okay, yeah. 11.
It's Torres to give Chelsea.
Yaya Toure.
Correct.
Very good.
Wow.
Stuff.
Very good.
Really, really good.
Mid-orgasm.
So I'm
lovely.
caught between two players here,
Right.
and I don't know if either
Go
of
for
them have
number
done
two.
it. I don't know if either of them have done it. Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh. He has, you
He
know.
must have done
You
it.
can have number one now. Jim?
Gabriel Jesus.
Oh, yeah,
He
forgot
has
about him.
indeed. He has indeed.
Forgot
They've
about
had
him.
some goal scorers over the years,
They
haven't
have
they?
had some goal
Marcus
scorers.
Speller.
It's Torres to give
Marabalotelli.
Chelsea.
I'm not confident with that.
Oh! So we're all back in
certainly
there because I
has.
started,
Yeah.
right? The only one I can think of that may have done it now, after all these guesses, is Emmanuel Adebayor.
You would be incorrect,
Oh,
Nicky
no.
Moore. You'd be incorrect. Jim Campbell?
Alvaro Negredo.
Oh!
Surely not.
Nope.
He had a really good period with him, though. I thought he might have done it then.
Marcus, let's be having you.
How many left?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.
7.
7 left.
You forget that they existed before the takeovers.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. Is it Premier League?
Yeah.
It's Torres.
I'll go for Uwe Rosler then.
Ah!
So we're all back in.
Oh, back in. Have you got anything for us?
Is
'Cause you
this
had
in the
number
history
one.
of the Premier League?
Yes.
I would possibly argue.
Right.
Was right or wrong?
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm about to hear if we win the argument or not. Paul Dickoff.
Nearly went for that one actually. Jimmy.
Sean Wright Phillips.
No, not a big.
Marcus, if you
goal
get one
scorer.
now,
Yeah,
you've
if
won
you
the
get
whole
one.
thing.
Yeah. Come on, Spelsy. Have a think. Have a think, lad.
There's 2 names I've got down, and I will go for David Silva. If it's Sean
See,
Goater, it's a sickener.
It's not Sean
Oh,
Goater.
okay.
There's a few very, very big names here. You could have had Bernardo Silva. You could have had a Silva.
Oh,
You could have had your friend of mine, Carlos Tevez, Jim.
I forgot all about Tevez.
Yeah.
You could have had Ferran Torres, Jim.
Ah,
I forgot about him.
yeah.
Nicholas Anelka, anyone?
Oh,
yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
Paolo Juanchop.
Oh, yes.
And finally for now, Robinho and Phil Foden.
Phil Foden.
Phil Foden's a bit of a swerve, yeah. All right then, tiebreaker, lads.
Here we go.
We never get to the tiebreaker. It's quite exciting. Don't really know how to administer it. Players Brighton have sold.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Players Brighton have sold since the start of the 2022 summer transfer window, and this excludes loans and free transfers. Players that Brighton have sold since the start of the 2022 summer transfer window. Can't all be easy ones to even get on the ladder.
Look, which one of us are you supporting?
Um,
And who's going first?
Kicking off with you, Jim.
I'll probably support Jim.
Moise Caicedo.
He's in there.
Alexis
Marcus.
McAllister.
Correct.
Oh, Mark Cucurella.
Oh, yeah.
Too early.
Correct. Yeah.
I'll go for Sanchez.
Who?
Oh, no.
What?
Yeah, Sanchez.
What's his first name?
What's his first name?
We all know his first name.
Sounds like you don't, Marcus.
David. Oh, no.
Jim Campbell wins.
Jimmy wins. Sorry, mate.
What's his first name?
Robert.
Robert.
Oh, I didn't have one. I did not have one.
Jim, you solid the haters there, mate.
You could have had Mikel Arteta. You could have had Matt Clark, Ostergaard. You could have had Trossard. You could have had
Trossard.
Connolly, Cadra, Morpé, Sanchez, Taylor Richards, who was initially loaned and then bought in 2023.
Sorry, what was Sanchez's first name?
Sanchez was Robert.
Robert.
Yves Bissouma as well. He
Yves
went at
Bissouma.
number 13.
Well, this game does
Congratulations,
change.
Jim. That was fun. That was
It
a
was
fun
very
round.
Don't be a bad
Enjoyable.
loser. This game does change.
This game does
You
change.
undermine the whole thing
No,
if
I
you say
didn't. I
that.
didn't. Jim won.
Oh, okay,
That's what I
right.
meant.
This game
Sorry,
does change.
I worded
Smoking
it
a
very
cigarette,
poorly.
looking into the horizon.
You're like,
This game does
being
change.
horrible to a fourth official.
I remember when this game was all fields.
This game does change. What that means?
It's very emotional.
The player don't change, the game changes.
Exactly, yeah.
But listen, I'll tell you one thing that doesn't change.
Yeah.
Who's the arbiter of the weekend?
It is me. It is very much me. Thank you very much for listening to the Football Ramble preview show sponsored by Betfair, part of the Acast Creator Network. Don't forget to join Luke and Andy on Sunday for Ramble Reacts, and do follow us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube and Instagram at Football Ramble. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app. Here are the keys. They're in the lock, everybody. Oh, there's the old dirty little lock opening.
Covered in Vaseline.
And,
What's inside the door?
the weekend.
It's nice to see.
There we are.
Nice.
Enjoy yourselves, everybody. Don't forget on Sunday morning, Luke and Andy. And then we'll be back on Monday, of course, after that. Lots of love. Thank you, Luke Moore.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete Donaldson.
Bye.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. See you soon.
Thanks for watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're feeling extra generous, why don't you like this video? Why don't you like this video?